everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. This is the second Washington Wine Month, and I've said it many times, I think we should only have one. I think we should stick to the original Washington Wine Month, but since August is Washington Wine Month, I might as well review a few Washington wines in August. So my first round of wines is going to be Syrah. My two favorite varieties out of Washington State are Syrah and Merlot. Now, I've said it many times, Washington State does many varietals very well. And we will do more than just Merlot and Syrah, of course. And of course, I'd like to get a blind one in here. I've not done a blind tasting lately. And in the comments, I'd like to make a comment. Do you like the blind format? Is that something you enjoy watching? I think I get a lot of response from blind tastings, but we're not going to do a blind one today. We're just going to review three Syrah from three different price points, from 11 bucks up to 40 bucks. And Syrah, of course, is dominant. I think it's interesting about, before I go on here on the tasting, Syrah and Merlot are both very maligned grapes for whatever reason. Now, in the Rhone Valley in France, Syrah is a very respected grape, especially up in northern Rhone where they're pure Syrah. Saint Joseph, Hermitage, those areas, they're 100% Merlot, maybe a little bit of Viognier co-fermented with them. So Syrah is greatly respected in the land of France, especially in the Rhone Valley. Now, I think the reason Syrah took a hit, and I've said this before, is because of Shiraz in Australia. Australia flooded the market with Shiraz, inexpensive Shiraz, big fruit-forward bombs. I think people just got tired of it. And we, as wine guys and girls, we taught them Shiraz and Syrah are the same grape. They just call it a different name. Both in South Africa and in Australia, they call it Shiraz. Well, of course, we know why Merlot took a hit. We don't have to go over that one again, but it, sideways, really took the wind out of the sails of Merlot. But they're both starting to gain some strength, and I think it's too bad because, Syrah and Merlot are great wines, and, I like those varietals very much, and I think they need to get the respect back. Don't you? You probably do. So I think Syrah is gaining momentum quicker than Merlot, though, in my opinion. So we're going to start out with a very well-known Washington winery called Snoqualmie. This is 2017 Snoqualmie Syrah. Columbia Valley. It rolls in at $11. So Snoqualmie is one of the better value wines out of Washington State. We sell a ton of their Chardonnay in the store I work at. So let's give this a try. It's 2017. I'm curious how this is going to flesh out because 17 is starting to show its colors in a good way. When it first came out, I think some of them were a little rough, but they've come around and they're really drinking well. Sorry, I wasn't saying vintage, Barnard Griffin. So let's, very dark in color, what you'd expect from Syrah. Syrah is very dark. Let's see what we get on the nose. Get a little bit of that kind of tar and bacon fat that you can get from Syrah. I'm getting a little mocha action. Some red flowers, and I'm getting definitely a big hit of boysenberry. So mocha, boysenberry, little bacon fat, little tar action. Let's see what we get on the palate. Nice and smooth. A little grit action on this one on the backside. So it's smooth up front, then you just get a little attitude on the backside, but not a lot. Boysenberry really comes out big time. Also getting a little bit of a black plum component. The bacon fat does not dominate at all on the palate. It's just a little bit on the nose, but there's a little hit of it on the back end. Along with the mocha, I get a little chocolate on this as well. In fact, I get a lot of chocolate. I almost get kind of a cocoa powder. Not the attitude, cocoa powder. Smooth tannins, good balance. This is just like a really, really nice Syrah at a great price. Now, I had my assistant, Scott, look up the pricing, and I think it might be the same as a red blend, but this could be just a little bit more than $11. Let's just range it between 11 and 15. Either way, it's a great value And it does represent Syrah in a good way. Boysenberry, plum, chocolate, and mocha. Those are the characters I'm getting on it. They're nicely integrated with each other. The acidity is light, but there certainly you could have this with food. And I just think it's a great value wine. Snoqualmie really does come across as really is a great value producer. And I think this is one of the things about Washington State wines. You get under $15 bottle of wine, and a lot of times it's very good. And I feel kind of spoiled living in Washington State. I really like Washington wines. Of course, as you know, I like all wines, but Washington really produces some good stuff. Solid wine, not super complex, but very delicious. I'm gonna go be honest on that. Nice and expensive Syrah that's worth buying. Let's move on. So Barnard Griffin was my winery of the year, I believe, not too long ago. I think last year. 2015 Barnard Griffin Syrah, Columbia Valley. This rolls in at $20. Sorry about the label. I pulled this out of my wine cellar. I got a little ripped on the label there, but I reviewed quite a few of his wines last year, but color, again, very dark. That's what you'd expect. Almost like a ruby color. Ruby to black, actually. Well, you talk about chocolate on the nose on this one. So this is a 15. You won't be able to get your hands on a 15. Chocolate, I get a little bit of dust on it. This is a 2015, as I said. It's a 2015, which you probably won't be able to get your hands on. I pulled these out of my cellar. I was looking for 3 Syrah to do on this episode. So my apologies. However, I will say this about Rob Griffin, Barnard Griffin Winery. They are very, very consistent. And I think Rob pumps out some great wines at great value prices. Even his upper tier wines are reasonably priced. In fact, I had a winery, I won't mention their name, but they were on my list, perhaps to be in my winery of the year. And I tasted their upper tier wines, like their more expensive stuff, and I thought, man, they did not deliver for the money. So that's what I go with my winery of the year, or any winery for that matter. Do they deliver at the low end and at the high end? Yeah, maybe the mid-tier wines are really good, but then you start paying more money for them and they don't show the quality. They don't get to be my winery of the year. Chocolate and a little bit of tobacco. Chocolate, tobacco, boysenberry. A little bit of a maple component coming through as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. Good acidity. I think because it's a 15, okay, now this is a $20 bottle of wine, and most of us don't expect wine in this price point to age that long. It's 7 years old, which isn't that old, but still it's 7 years old. So I think the acidity might be overtaking the fruit just a little bit. But that being said, it's still a good quality wine. The tobacco comes through on the palate. I get that boysenberry kind of plum thing on this one as well. Good acidity. I think it's holding up really nicely for a $20. Now this was not $20 when I got it initially. I think it was around 16 bucks. He's just raised his price a little bit recently. $20 is still a fair price. I would drink that wine any day of the week. I think it's a very good wine, and it aged 7 years for that amount of money. I was thinking about Rob too, and I think he would agree with me on this. I know Rob, I've gotten to know Rob very well. He's into food, and he likes to have wines that pair with food. And this definitely, you have this with a blue cheeseburger, you're going to be really, really happy with the pairing. Even the pork spare ribs work with this very well. That's the cool thing about Syrah to me, is Syrah is such a good food wine, and this one really proves that. And let's see, what are we having for dinner tonight? I might have to incorporate that. No, We're having whitefish, so no, that's not going to work. The other thing I'm getting on this wine is blueberry, and that's very common flavor profile for Syrah. This has a lot of blueberry, with that good acidity, a little bit of boysenberry, a little bit of red plum. This is more red plum. I'm really happy with this wine, and it's 20 bucks. I'm going to go B plus on that. Just the fact that for the money, I believe I got it for around 15, 16 bucks, and look at it aging very nicely. Now, this is a wine club only wine from Gifford Hurlinger out in Walla Walla. This is the obligatory Syrah from Gifford Hurlinger 2018. It rolls in at $40. So if you want this wine, go to their website and you can order it on their website. It's not wine club only, excuse me, it's winery only wine. So you can't find this in a store. You have to go to the Gifford Hurlinger website. All right, 40 bucks, and now we're getting into some serious change here. Again, very, very dark, almost purplish, ruby purple, black. Yes, can't see through it hardly at all. Okay, let's see what we get on those. Well, this has definitely blueberry on the nose. Blueberry, blackberry. Little tar action. I'm even getting some like dark red flowers on this one. The petals of a dark red flower. And chocolate as well. I'm really excited about the first two I tried. Now let's see what we get with this one. 2018, by the way, is a great vintage in Washington State. Washington State rarely has a bad vintage, but like I said, 17 started out a little bit, you know, they weren't quite shining as brightly, but now they are, which is very cool about some vintages. There's been some tough vintages, but not very many. And most of them have to do with when it freezes, you know, if it freezes early and the buds, you know, it freezes early in the spring, and the buds get frozen, that'll affect the quality of the wine. That happens sometimes, of course. Okay, a little bit bacon fat as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. Nice full-bodied Syrah. Not over-the-top fruit, but just really, really full in the palate. Tobacco, chocolate, blueberry, blackberry, boysenberry. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smooth as a baby's bottom. But serious too, very complex. There's a lot going on this wine. Good acidity. It's there, but it's nicely integrated, meaning that you can't really, doesn't pop out. Now, I think Barnard Griffin popped out a little bit more just because of the age, but I also think Rob, like I said, Rob likes his wines to pair up with food nicely. Little tar action on the backside into the finish. Tobacco comes out right at the end. Tobacco kind of lingers on this one. This reminds me a little bit of an Hermitage, kind of St. Joseph style, with a little New World, you know, little love handles on the New World side. I like the acidity. It's nicely balanced. This is a very balanced, smooth, well integrated wine, nicely integrated wine that, boy, 40 bucks is a great price for the quality we have here in the glass. That needs food as well. Very solid wine. I like it. It's really hanging on. Long finish. A little gritty on the backside, so it's got some serious tannic structure on it. I like it. I'm going to go A plus on this Syrah. I think this represents what Washington can do at a very affordable price. I think in some areas the quality of this wine came from California. It'd probably be up in the $60 range. Just saying. So, $40 is not too much. If I get a chance, I will put a little link to Gifford Hurlinger's website so you can check it out if you'd like to. I'm not doing this to sell wine, but you know, some of these wines you might want to get your hands on. I did the it's funny, I did the Portugal wine episode on the last week, and I don't even know where to get those wines from a distribution standpoint. But you know, so David, I know I piqued your interest on those wines, but I have to find out where I can get them first. That was a fun episode, good wines. So these are great wines. This really represents, I think, all three of these in all three price points. Just kind of proves what Washington can do with Syrah. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. I think, yeah. I hope you're enjoying the content, and I would like to get your ideas on things you would like to see in the future from me. And I've jumped on some of those ideas you've given, so if you have something you want to see, let me know and I'll work on it, okay? Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see what's coming up next. You keep watching, and I will keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.